Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of O365A. Today's episode, we are going to be focusing on the first line worker. Obviously, the first line worker is the lifeblood of manufacturing, retail, healthcare, government, and a lot of other different sectors that are really the first line to engage customers. So Microsoft is investing a lot in the technology to provide frontline workers that are generally mobile first users, and there's roughly around 2 billion of these type of workers out there. So it's a significant amount, and a good time to have that investment in order to give them new technology to help manage their lives, train their and improve their skills, share different ideas, and share their knowledge. So the couple of first line worker products that we're going to be talking about is Staffhub migration to Teams and Kaizala. So I'm going to start off with the Staffhub portion of it. So it came out last year as part of the O365F1 plans, in which it provides the capabilities for supervisors and managers create shifts and manage shifts for the first line workers, clock in, clock out, that type of functionality. So the decision was made, and we briefly touched on it in our Ignite podcast, where it was announced that Staffhub was moving to Teams. So we've gotten a little bit more information about what's happening with that regard. So as of April 1st, 2019, the Staffhub will no longer be available on the Google Play Store or the Apple iTunes. So you're no longer going to be able to download it and utilize it from a management perspective. However, if you do still have that application installed on your mobile device, you'll still be able to continue to use it and manage the schedules and so on up until October 1st of 2019. So you have roughly less than a year in order to once the Teams version of Staffhub, which is called Home and Shifts, becomes available. You have less than a year to migrate all of your scheduling information into there, right? So obviously, once it becomes available inside the Teams and Skype Admin Center, it's become available for a few different organizations. It's starting to light up in some tenants where you can actually go in and start looking into managing your shifts. However, on the mobile device, it's just not available there yet. And so Curtis is going to talk about that from that perspective, what availability and features are going to be coming to the mobile device and the bin console.
Yeah, thanks, Habib. So the existing Staffhub functionality, it'll be rolled into Teams, primarily in two experiences, Home and Shifts. Shifts is the Teams app that will allow managers to create, update, and distribute schedules for first-line workers. And you can see how this applies to, when we say first-line workers, to a lot of different verticals like hospitality, retail, sort of any industry where there's a mobile field force out and about. So Shifts will be the primary scheduling application. That'll show up in the desktop version of Teams as an application. And it'll also have a mobile experience too. And then there's the home experience, which is another application which will allow the frontline workers to essentially clock in, clock out of shifts, receive any important updates from their coworkers or management, and that's strictly a mobile experience. So that's sort of the two primary buckets of functionality that are rolling into Teams. And as Habib said, this will be available this month, November 2018, in Teams, and then people can start their transition over. Yeah, so I was just looking at some of the screenshots of the Shifts application in Teams, and much like with the Teams collaboration mindset, it looks fantastic. You can set schedules up for all your first line workers, drag them around. I think this will be a really good application to manage those mobile workers. Now, do you guys want to discuss Kaizala, how this plays into the first line worker story?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Kurt. So Kaizala is like a simple and secure mobile chat client for work and personal use. So think of it as like a corporate chat client similar to WhatsApp or Messenger that you can use on your mobile device. Sign up is very simple. You just use your phone number to get access to the app. So obviously it's a mobile only app. You can go to the iOS or Android store, plug in your mobile number to start using it. It enables users to connect and coordinate work across many different networks. So again, the first line workers, vendors, partners, suppliers, customers, providing them a quick and easy way to chat. So our O365A team has been using the free version for some time now, and it made it very simple for us to coordinate and talk about things while we were on the go. So I speaking for everybody on the team, I thought we found it quite invaluable to use just to be able to do a quick and dirty chats and simple communications where we're on the move and not really in front of a computer, for example. So the word Kaizala is from an Indian Marathi background or origin, and the word actually means what's happening or what's up. So seemed clearly appropriately named. I thought that was kind of interesting choice of names for sure. It's kind of unique, Mike's gonna talk about how organizations can get ready and leverage Kaizala a bit further.
Yeah, so the what happened was last week, Kaizala actually showed up in the Office 365 Messaging Center, and the announcement was around the Pro version of this. So this is coming out in the next couple of weeks, talking about November 2018, should be coming out to, your Office 365 tenants. This really marks the graduation of from a Microsoft Garage project that was really, focused on in the India market. It was meant for that low and no bandwidth situations. What we have now is, Kaizala is leveraging Azure, so it has that, it's built on Azure, so you have your secure and compliancy. It supports, some of the standard compliance items like HIPAA, GDPR, ISO 27 or 27001. It's meant for iOS, Android. It's going to be disabled by default in your tenant, so your Office 365 tenant. And what you can do is you can go to the management portal to enable it for your tenant, and that's under manage.kaizal.la. And if you enable it, then you get some of the pro features, which are organization group management, publishing custom actions like surveys, submitting expenses, meeting invites, assigning jobs, which are like assigning tasks to people, also checklists, and then you get the reporting and analytics over those groups. Also, Kaizala has some extensibility aspects, so you can do automation with tools like Microsoft Flow. So it's interesting to see how this is going to all play with Home and Staffhub and all that coming into Teams. A word of a note that we were using we had an Office 365 group created, and it showed up in my tenant, so I'm like, oh, I can convert this private group into an organization group. So I did that, and they were like, okay, well, now it's part of my Office 365 tenant. Let's try and remove it so that someone else can add it. And don't click dissolve, because if you click dissolve, it will lock down the group. It will remove all its members. It will disable chat, and all your data is gone. So be cognizant that dissolve doesn't mean remove as from your organization, but remove from entirety, completely. But yeah, so that some of the key aspects of low and no bandwidth, we were using it at Ignite to coordinate where we were at the event, what we were going to do for dinner and all that stuff. And it was pretty powerful, not having to worry about Wi-Fi or cellular networks. We just kind of worked wherever we were in that event.
Yeah, let's clear up probably the biggest question that people might have. It's why yet another communication tool? To be honest, when I first heard of Kaizala months ago, that was my first question. And it's almost like we have fatigue on the communication collaboration tool front. But having used it for a while, and as you guys mentioned, we used it as a group at Ignite. I really do quite like it, and what I do like about it is it's a step up sort of from SMS text messaging, but it is lightweight. It's very sort of, if anyone's used WhatsApp or these quick little mobile chat applications. And what I like about it is when I say step up, there's the ability to define groups. So if we're all going to Ignite, we could define an Ignite 2018 group. And so you can organize your chats. You can invite different people to different groups. So in my mind, it has just enough structure, but ease of communication to be really useful. And as you guys said too, it seemed to work really well over low bandwidth environments, which was really nice. But to be clear, this is not a full collaboration tool like Microsoft Teams, right?
Right.
I think that's an important thing to understand.
Yeah, and I think in terms of adoption, you'll see frontline workers really picking this up a lot because of that exact reason, Kurt, and that that it's just so simple to use, and they can just mute chats that are not relevant to them, and just deal with what is relevant to them. So I really can see how it'll be picked up with the frontline workers for sure.
Yeah, and they're definitely more accustomed to something like this already, right? With all the different tool sets that are out there today. Yeah. And then the only difference really is now from a business perspective, the business is now allowed to have that tool be compliant as opposed to the consumer version of it, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you obviously have to look at it from a 2-point perspective, like we talked about, right? It's a product that can be utilized from a personal perspective with a bunch of buddies to getting together and keeping in touch with one another, and then on the other hand, from a business perspective, grouping policies and compliance. So
yeah, just to add to that, that's a really good point, Habib. There's a lot of organizations, in some verticals, that should be under some heavy compliance rules that end up their workers just default to SMS text messaging or a consumer grade app that's not really secure. Adding this to the Microsoft arsenal gives organizations that want to have frictionless communication for their frontline workers, but keep it actually fully secure and semi-compliant. So I think that'll be a big benefit to those companies.
Agreed. Okay, well, thanks everybody for listening in, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next episode.
And remember not to dissolve.
Yeah, don't be the dissolver.
And don't let Mike be an admin of your group. Thanks.
Thanks. See you.